Why I left my job in the city to fight ISIS. Can you remember the first time you heard about the Islamic State? For me, it was when Mosul fell in June 2014.
Tonight, Islamist rebels captured the major city of Mosul after its defence.
Along with millions of people all around the world, I watched ISIS grow in power. Every day there was something new and sickening out of the Middle East. The brutal execution videos of captured soldiers, journalists and humanitarian workers. Women treated like cattle and sold into sexual slavery. Gay men were thrown from buildings, refugees fled in terror, and of course we watched the defenceless Yazidis trapped on Sinjar mountain. Me, I was living in London and I worked a pretty ordinary job in the city. I had no ties to the Middle East, I didn't speak any of the local languages, but like everyone else I was disgusted by ISIS, moved by the strength of the Syrian people and angry that not enough was being done to stop it from happening. I waited for the British government to do something, but they never did. They didn't, and they still don't have a serious plan to combat ISIS. They were fiddling while Iraq and Syria burned. I felt like I had to do something. I couldn't just stand and watch it all happen. I really wanted to embarrass my government and show them that actions speak so much louder than words. If I could go further and get people talking about those fighting ISIS and what they actually need on the ground, then maybe something would change. So after Christmas last year, to show my solidarity with the Kurds, I left home and I joined the YPG to fight ISIS in Syria. Those early days were nerve-wracking. Although I knew how to handle a weapon, I was never in the army. Even so, there was never a moment I doubted the morality of what I was doing. Of course, some days were really bad. The first friend I lost was an Australian called Ashley Johnson. Just before an operation to take a town called Telhamas, I told him I'd see him there for a drink, but he was killed before I got the chance. In all, I spent 5 months and 10 days on the front line. I was part of a roving tabor, a unit of 40 that goes around wherever the fighting is heaviest. We liberated villages and towns all across Syria. I can't describe the satisfaction of taking a village from ISIS and watching residents coming home just days later. It didn't matter if they were Arabs, Kurds, Christians or Yazidis. With tears in their eyes, they thanked us, shouted "Long live the YPG" and "God bless Britain." The trouble was we weren't sent by the British government. We were all volunteers, including Eric Scurfield. He wasn't wearing a British uniform, but he died for British values and to defend the Syrian people. As Brits, how do we want to be seen in the Middle East? In a decade where we've seen our reputation dragged through the mud, we finally have a chance to show the world exactly what Britain stands for: liberty, justice and equality for all. I'm not suggesting we put soldiers in the ground. There are thousands of young Iraqis and Syrians who want to fight for their countries. What we do need to do is increase bombing raids and supply more equipment to the secular groups fighting for democracy. We need to offer political support and recognition to the Syrian Kurds. We can't look back on this conflict with regret. Too many times in history, inaction has caused human suffering. It doesn't matter what religion you have. It doesn't matter what nationality you are. As human beings, we need to unite today and build a future for Syria and Iraq that people can believe in.